I broke everything, apparently. So that's cool. Luckily, you don't really need to see my camera. But that is awkward. Unfortunately, Logitech still hates that I use two of its same cameras and occasionally just decides to hate me. But hopefully everything is good to go now, at least with the stream. On the bottom right, as the pink Protoss, he is a ninja. In the top left, as the orange Zerg, it is Sasori. And this is the losers match. Need to get in on this. Okay, so we saw Ninja go for a lot of cannon rushes. In fact, every single game for a cannon rush against a Protoss player creature. Seems like in Protoss vs. Zerg, he's not such a fan and actually goes to the gateway wall off here. Now, Sasori just goes for the hatch gas, so nothing interesting from these two so far. So we actually get a normal PVZ. Cool. I'll have to figure out the camera issue, I suppose, after the stream, as fixing it can obviously cause my stream to crash. Gets too upset that I have two cameras, and just that doesn't work anymore. I've been thinking of solutions for this, because apparently not many other people have this bug. They actually can freely use two Logitech C920s and not be forced to... Oh my god! And not be forced to unplug one of them every post-stream, or else opening OBS the next stream will crash it. Just cool things I have to deal with. But I don't know why they're lucky and I'm not. So I've been thinking of getting like another camera model or camera brands, but who else even does good like webcams? We're trying to set up a legitimate camera, but I don't really want to do that. Plug and pray. I like them. Well, definitely want to see this third timing, but I guess we'll be seeing with a probe. The Adept's on the way though, and a Stargate follow-up is happening, so kind of check marks on all those scout timings that would otherwise potentially kill you. The Adept is being sent out here. The drone finally made its way across the map as soon as the probe left. Isn't that always the case? It is going to continue to be quite normal. Now, Sasori doesn't actually have his Overlord at the usual spot, but he does see everything. Usually it's over here, but it's, you know, one or the other. Nothing there to kill it anyways. Sasori goes for a Baneling Nest. I want to say pretty quickly. Especially if you don't, like, know what they're doing. I mean, maybe it's like a Twilight Council's rid of a Resident Englave attack. I mean, maybe, but that still would be quite a quick Baneling Nest. So I want to go with Baneling Bust. That seems to be the case. A lot of Lings are on the way. If you can get rid of the Adept with the first, you know, casual set of Lings, like, you get 6 for 1 and then maybe 10 for 2, and that's not suspicious. It's when the Adept sees that there's 20 plus that's when Ninja realizes what's going on and gets a double wall. The Lings choose not to, oh, sneaky, kill the second Adept, not to show that there's more in the making, and instead choose to hide, go around the map. They're also going to have to dodge the Oracle temporarily. Obviously, the Oracle's going to see the lack of drones very, very soon, but it's not going to see the amount of Lings, just a few down the middle of the map. That's not enough to tell him it's a Baneling Bust. No indication yet that he knows. A second Oracle is on the way, and Oracles will certainly help, but this one has to be brought back. It can't really waste energy either, which I guess in an almost lucky way it doesn't. Obviously getting a couple drones makes us even more all in, but I think having as much energy as possible to clean everything up here might just be better. but you really just want to have a secondary wall, a shield battery, 2 pylons, something. Instead, he just lets them through. The Adept takes splash damage anyways. This pylon is looking like it really should have been over here. And this is going to be a lot of damage. Depowered all of the front wall off. Baneling goes in the main base. Natural. Everything is a goner. GG. Sasori with the Baneling bust. Takes game number 1. And yes, I still don't really know what to do about my camera. Which is a little odd, but... Is this it? Oops, that was Stream Deck. Ah! Might be. That was the camera, but it doesn't seem to have helped. Right. At this point, just redoing the camera entirely is usually the best option. Which really sucks. My cam too. Oh, that's not even working though. That didn't even work. Oh shit. Now I'm really out of ideas. Well, this will be camless. That's fine. This is fine. There we go. 16 bits. In the top right, as our pink Protoss, it is Ninja for Sandstorm Gaming. In the bottom left, as the orange Zerg, it is Sasori for Destruction Gaming. The Invitational is hosted, I guess, by Destruction Gaming. I want to call it the Destructional. That doesn't make any sense. And as a reminder, Group B is being played on Falcon Paladin stream. So if you want to check him out, he's not currently connected to Team Liquid, which kind of sucks, but I do believe he is streaming. He might actually be on Team Liquid. I have no idea how new his stream is. But anyway, Sasori showed us a Baneling bust in the first game. Wouldn't be too surprised to see something cheesy the second, as this guy's played unorthodox at the very least. Maybe not cheesy every single time, but definitely unorthodox. And I wouldn't be surprised if it carried over. Ninja did his cannon rush, so don't get me wrong. He could also do something kind of all-in-y, maybe 2 base, maybe 3 base. But it's 16 bits, and there really are added question marks. You get the nice wall off for the Protoss, that's just on the ramp, which is all well and good. The Zerg takes the natural as their expansion, which can be very deceiving. You can't get a scout all the way back into the 3rd base unless you get a flying unit, so you know, you think they take the 3rd, they end up not taking it. You think they're saturating the 3rd, they're not. That's also where they might put down tech later on, so you can barely, like, it can definitely complicate matters. Or make for a very, very long macro game, kind of either one. But the probe scouts, everything is in order for the beginning anyways. No cheeky 12 pool, something like that. Which I wouldn't know if it would be very effective on such an easy to wall off ramp. Yeah, I don't know about that. But time will tell what their plans are. I don't know what it is, but after my nap on the floor, and maybe it was taking a floor nap before anyone says anything. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I woke up and just immediately felt like I had like an ear infection, and like my back was like really, really sore. And I can understand the back sore thing from taking a nap, but that has to do with my ear. I just really hope I'm not getting a ear infection. I haven't had one since I was a kid. So gross. Is that a second cast geyser? Yes, it is. That there is a sign. Okay. Evolution chamber. Third base is being delayed for all of these things. 2 evolution chambers. Third base is also being delayed because there's a probe there. Which Ninja, I guess, sneaked that in? I mean, yeah, it seems like it would be totally possible to do that until the hatchery finishes. The hatchery, when it's building, has very little sight. That's why bunker rush is going to be really, really quite good, and cannon rushes. So he must have snuck that back in. And actually uses it to scout in the main, which was a fine idea. He didn't really... he would have seen, I feel, a baneling nest timing, but it's just 2 evolution chambers, which is a little weird. And then a baneling nest. So either Sasori saw the probe go in and was waiting for it to scout and is doing the greatest mind game of all time, or I actually have no idea. I can't even figure out what he's doing. Well, he had so much gas that it seems like he was planning on using the evolution chambers and getting speed, just like he did in that ZVZ on 1 speed, but he also gets a baneling nest, and it's like... yeah. Kind of seems like he's indecisive / really didn't want to be scouted once again, so that probe hiding in his third base was a big bummer. But his double evolution chamber build would have been scouted by an Oracle anyways, which is why I'm like... was he really planning on not being... I don't know. I don't know. This guy plays a little weird. Oracle bothers to use its energy on the Lings. Probably initial fear here being that it is a Baneling bust, but it'll see that they're still slow. There's nothing making the Banelings. It's just slow Lings making their way across the map, looking awkward. So it's, you know, he pays attention with the Oracles, but he doesn't over-defend, no shield batteries or anything. Just continues on with his regular build. Going into those Phoenix, Twilight Council gateways, third base will come down, I expect, very soon. Maybe he had even planned on already throwing it down if he had not seen those Lings go across the map. But the Oracle's going to confirm what his probe already knew, which is that it's a late third. Only just finishing, still spreading its creep. Now, there's no drones to kill, which is kind of the upside, I suppose, but... that is usual for a third base. It's just the timing of the third that's a little off. Thanks to clear up these overlords. Might grab 3 or 4, actually. Charge Temple Archives on the way. Warp Prism already done. Going across the map. Going for that Archon attack. Doesn't have a lot of gateway pressure to add on to it, so it's not going to be that instant charge reinforcement that can sometimes just straight up kill a Zerg. Just going for harassment here. But with 2 Oracles, if they had more energy... Actually, no, they could go now. They could definitely help out. Phoenix lifts one of the Queens. The Oracles kill another. And then the Archons just go to town wherever the hell they want, really. Sasori has gone for Ling Baneling, which is something you can defend with, but obviously requires quite a few Lings. It requires the Queen to target fire the Warp Prism. Okay, he gets 8 drones with the sacrifice of an Oracle. I thought he was going to pair all this up kind of off the timing, but not exactly. Could still bring the units back. This Overlord, I think, awkwardly saw the Warp Prism. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. He's building a lot of Lings though now, so I think it did. Third base is checked up on, and, you know, Sasori knows that he's trying to take it. Sees no Zealots being warped in here. In fact, even a little bit awkward because he only went to 3 gateways instead of 4. A lot of Lings finding the Archons. Can tango with it. It just isn't really worth it, I feel, unless your Queens are also attacking the Warp Prism. As the Archon loves to generate shield, but they took a lot of damage very early on, so this micro got a little bit more dangerous every time it dropped out. Lings trying to find this third base, and yeah, that's not enough. If there were more, if there were about twice as many Lings, even with their upgrades, there's twice as many, this would have been good enough, but as is, another few warp-ins, the Oracle comes back, the Archons come back, and this third base is going to be kept alive. And those things traded decently. Ling upgrades are a beautiful thing. And Ninja's gonna saturate that third base. He's ahead drastically in workers after killing 8. Sasori just made nothing but Lings, so he's at an okay drone count, and then he wasn't, and then he really, really wasn't. So this is just a bad sign for our Zerg player who's going for a 4th base, but like what really is the purpose of that with 35 drones? That doesn't even saturate 2 bases, really. So, I don't know. This doesn't look like it's gonna work out. I think Ninja has got the macro game on lockdown, which would tie up the series. This Observer is perfectly timed, good God. Sees all the banelings being made, and all you really gotta do there is make more Archons, I feel. You know, get a shield battery, fully wall off. More Archons. Storm's not gonna be done, buddy. Just make from the Archons. If he loses to this, I don't know. Double wall comes in here, but it wasn't very far along, so a lot of banelings still roll through. He did end up making that Archon, and they end up tanking so much that even though he broke through the front wall and a lot of units, it still isn't enough. Sasori is pretty dead, but not willing to give up yet. He's on what is close to be 5 bases, but with 34 drones, that doesn't mean very much. And that's that just about cuts it. I mean, I guess Ninja is gonna go for a storm attack with a bunch of charge lots, and that'll end the game. But Sasori, after a baneling bust like that, yeah, some other people just would have tapped out then and there. He's trying to go back into droning, but only after making a ton more lings. He wants to bring Ninja back in case he does go for the attack. Fortunately, there's no good option here. You either over drone and get attacked and die, or you make army and maybe do something with it, but then you just still fall out in the macro game. Sasori has gotten to nothing better than Ling Baneling, with upgrades. But no Hydras, just more Banelings. Again, Archon's probably the way to go. There is a chance that Ninja has too many storms, and if all the High Templars die, it doesn't matter if they stormed, well, if all the High Templars die with all the Banelings, then I guess that's fine, but my theory crafting was more like, if all the High Templars die, and they don't kill all the Banelings, that many Banelings could take out the army if it's all clumped up, so it is a little worrying, but how are the storms? Where are the storms? Storms! All over the place. But even as late as they were, the Archons still ended up just soaking everything up, along with the Immortals that are still alive. And that was not good enough. And that would usually be game. But Ninja is not going for the attack. He built another Warp Prism, I guess, to go for some harassments. Just another attack. I mean, this is the good all-in mentality. If it doesn't work the first time or the second time, let's do it a third time. This time he's getting a +2 melee, but he's still only at 48 drones. So these hatcheries are just macro hatcheries. And I guess if you're the one that's being aggressive, your macro hatcheries should just be expansions. Manages to get to a probe line. 7 probes go down, and Lings get into the natural, but not into the main. Oh, a little bit into the main. Actually, that Zealot wall, just so close to being perfect, getting into the main and the natural. Of course, it's the 16-bit, and I said natural, I'm at third. And this is a lot of probe damage. All of a sudden, things get really wonky, but Ninja is on 4 Nexus, on a just such a bigger army supply, and while damage was finally done, it feels like it was far, far too late. "30 probes, really not too shabby. If the Lynx would have also grabbed a couple of important structures, maybe a pylon, deep-power gateways, as well as Templar Archive, something like that, I still wouldn't believe, but I'd be closer to believing in the comeback. The Sasori has no way to deal with the incoming army. Even if he had gotten to Spire a little bit sooner, he would have only had like 7 mutas max, and that's a Stalker Warp in, a couple of cannons by some time. Not a big deal. He would have required going up to maybe 20 mutas instantly to really make such a series of events happen. GG. And Stream Deck also stopped working. I think this is one of those Good ol' I just need to restart my computer situations, which is super cool. Super easy to do when you're casting a tournament and streaming. Nice, 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 nice. The story really likes Zerglings. Who is this? True? Says Penguin. So in Falcon's Stream, a queen just walked through a wall. Was it on one of the new maps? Because that doesn't surprise me. Man, I wish any of my cameras are working. Blazer's being awfully cute watching outside the window. His little foot's doing like the thumper thing. Alright, game number 3. Everything is tied up. Every series has been an ace match. Interesting. On the top left is the pink Protoss. It is a ninja. In the bottom right is the orange Zerg. It is Sasori. And he does seem to really like his lings. Really enjoys it. I enjoy, personally, using lings, watching people use lings. I think it's a very fun playstyle. Lings, one of the more fun units involved in StarCraft 2. They're not, they're very delicate, so they're not easy to use. They require a lot of forethought, positioning, and just really cool. So I like seeing it, but unfortunately Sasori is not quite living up to True's legacy, I suppose. I don't know if it's someone he looks up to, or he just happens to like lings like True seems to as well, but when True does it, it's usually backed up from some pretty decent macro. I mean, he'll do his all-in, sure, but if he does something a little more aggressive, that's True, but he also has the macro behind it, so it looks a little weird. You can certainly say that True has his own style, but it typically flows through into what you would say is a normal Zerg. I mean, maybe he stays on lings with upgrades a bit longer than others, or decides that Banelings aren't necessary, but then he eventually gets into Ling Hydra with the upgrades and plays a normal ZVP. Sasori is just going for like much earlier upgrades, wonkier builds that I would say really aren't super fluid, and sticking on it for a lot longer as well. So first game wins with a good old-fashioned Baneling bust, third base made only for Larva. Last game he goes for a third base, does a Baneling bust, but it's a little bit later, a little bit more awkward, scouted with double upgrades, just kind of a weird thing. What is he doing in game number 3? Because that's kind of the question. Ninja might have had his own way of playing PvP with cannon rushing, but his way of playing PvZ so far seems to be just solid standard. Successful freelance is subjecting yourself to bullying. Ah ha ha. Actually, I really don't understand what that sentence said until I read it out loud, so. Yeah. Oh. Stargates is, I guess, what Ninja prefers most, and that's fine. Protoss getting by on that Stargate opener for years now. Ride those puppies for miles. I do like seeing the occasional opening with the Resonating Glaives or the occasional straight into Archon drop, but Stargate into either one of those usually a good option. Looks like Sasori is going to go back to the good old-fashioned Baneling bust, which was effective. It managed to dodge out all the scouting that Protoss can do. He had some nice little moves with his Ling positioning on Catalyst, I believe it was. And that could happen here on Acid Plant. But Ninja should be a little more on guard. Unfortunately, it can be very difficult to be on guard against a Baneling bus this quick, right? Because you're kind of hoping that you see the Ling counts, which if they know where your Adepts are and they have Overlords over the map, they can find your Adepts. Oh, he tried to get into the main to see the Baneling nest, but this is really nice. That's why he didn't just put it over here or even over here. He put it way, way back there, so no chance to see it. Now Ninja's down 2 more Adepts. He could go for, I was gonna say, just a shield battery, but he actually goes for shield battery and uses other gateways for a wall and just fully walls off, so he might just be predicting what's going on, even though he didn't scout. Oh, you know what? He saw the gas. Ah, you know, Sasori could have made this a little bit better by going for that gas geyser. Oh, that actually would have been really cool. I mean, I don't think it 100% confirms that it's always a Baneling bus if they're still in gas, but it is a pretty good indication. Bit lower of a drone count as well at the natural, like, And it seems like Sasori was aware of that too. He sent these Lings out, but he stopped producing Lings, and that's too bad, because the Baneling nest was a cool spot, but Gas Geyser was too much of a reveal. So he goes into a lair instead. Cancels all the Banelings and just has Lings flying around the map. I guess because they have wings, right? They fly. And gets his Spore Coiler defense up. 2 queens per base will take care of this, but only at 1 per base. A little awkward. 2 oracles will just still kill drones. Nice gliding there. Oh, barely saves the oracle. 6, and saving both is pretty nice. Twilight Council Robo, maybe just a follow-up into the Templar Archives once again. But Sasori still has access to Banelings and a good number of Lings, which will certainly look to tear down the 3rd base. They're kind of close to doing so on 16 bits, with their double upgrades included, but just a little bit too few. Maybe this game will be different. No upgrades, but attacking a bit sooner. We'll see how it goes. He's got a lot of Lings ready. Like, he's going for this follow-up attack, so... Unfortunately, that is once again at the price of his drone count. So it fell behind, and it fell more behind because of the drone kills. And now he's going into Hydralisk Den. He will not have a lot of economy to back that up. But he's going to go for the Baneling nest. He knows where the oracles are. There's no scouting over here. Ninja's army is out in the middle of the map. So even if it responds, even if the Banelings go to the natural and it responds, it is in danger of getting surrounded and busted. And this actually looks like it might just work. Sasori has a bigger army supply. We'll see how his Banelings do. They're going to crash right into that Zealot. The Force Field does not go down. Oh, okay. Perfect time on the Force Field. Only has 1. So the Cybernetic Core is the next target, but 2 Banelings will get through. It's only 2 Banelings. They don't even get to the mineral line. And this one actually is just a little awkward. There we go. But not enough Banelings were left over to kill the other army. The army that came from the 3rd base. The Lings are cleaned up after only killing 5 probes. The 3rd base should be protected here. Sasori continuing to flood with Lings. The Hydralisk Den, why even build it? You love Lings too much, mate. But they are not upgraded, and while they might be tangling with the army, Warpins are coming, Oracles are regaining their energy, and time is not on the side of our Zerg. Comes out 7 drones under after killing 7 probes, but has not done anything to the tech of Ninja or to the base count of Ninja. So, triple pro production, chrono boost. He did not go for Templar Archives, by the way. Actually, oh no, he did, sorry. Oh, right, there they are. I was like, there's no Archons in the field, so, but no, he went for 1, and that'll just about do it. Zealots are all he needs. The Cybernetic Score loss is maybe a loss of a couple of centuries, but he still has 1 ready to go, and into Archons, which will do great at tanking these Banelings, which he sees once again being made. And now his Oracles even have juice to help out here. Bust through the natural, and the probes are pulled, but he splits the probes in half, so only half the probe line tanks the Banelings, but Lings put into the main, and this is where a lot of probe damage happens. This is where, you know, on 16-bit, it looked like it might be possible, but we gotta look at that armor supply every time one of these things happen. I mean, 16 probes going down is not too shabby, but how is Sasori supposed to defend the counterattack that should happen? I mean, Ninja kind of played it safe and going to 4 bases on 16 bits, but yeah, this might be a bit of a different circumstance. The probe count was killed at a later time in that game, where this is pretty early on. Obviously, he's not on a 4th, he's only on a 3rd. But I really think Ninja should attack. Does he have a War Prism? No, it's building. There it is. It's building, but his army is strong enough certainly to make it across the map without the help of reinforcements. And maybe once he's over there, he'll need them, but the War Prism's flying unit, it'll be there no problem. Hydras are on the way. He also built a Roach Warren, but not in a hurry to build those. There are a couple of Mortals in the mix. If the Hydras were in a much higher count with a nice concave and Lings and Banelings to buffer, well, that's the competition you want. But there are just no numbers here. And Sasori has to tap out. Ninja takes the 2-1, and we'll continue on to this tournament. GG. I realize there's not a huge reason to do this, going back to the out-of-game screen, but that's what I'm going to do. So now we go on to the winners match. It's going to be Penguin versus